How's it going, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another review. This time we are reviewing a film that was from the year 2014, but is just finding its way onto DVD this year. It is coming to us courtesy of ArcEntertainment, and that film is Private Number. This film follows a ex-alcoholic writer who is working on his new book, as well as still kind of struggling with his alcoholism. Meanwhile, he has a girlfriend who is really into him, really wants to settle down, have a family. She really wants to get pregnant. He is kind of dealing with the fact that he just wants to finish his book and he doesn't really want to worry about family stuff right now. He wants to deal with his book, deal with his alcoholism, and then all of a sudden he starts getting a series of sinister phone calls late at night that is just kind of whispering, "Remember me." He then eventually kind of goes through a psychological breakdown where he's trying to piece together a story and kind of solve a murder case where he finds out that the voices that he's hearing and the phone calls that are being delivered to him might have something to do with a couple murder victims. This film is very interesting to start off. It's very psychological. It's a thriller, and it kind of is a supernatural film altogether. And I almost feel like as a thriller it works very well, but once they throw in the supernatural elements, it kind of diminishes the film a little bit. The psychological aspect is very, very good. It is kind of an interesting mesh of things where you have this supernatural undertone, and then when it kind of all plays out, you do feel a little bit ripped off in terms of like, yeah, I've seen this 1.5 million times. They're doing nothing new here. I think the tension and the suspense that they created earlier in the thriller aspects of the film, the psychological aspects of the film, dealing with his alcoholism, dealing with his girlfriend who really loves him, he really loves her, but he's just not ready to settle down, dealing with his friends who are all sort of judgmental, and the police and everybody around him is really judgmental towards his alcoholism. I love all of that stuff. I feel like it was working really good towards a grand story, but it kind of just fizzles out with the way that it went. I almost feel like you had two different writers here, one that wanted to make this weird, almost ghostly supernatural film, and this other guy who wanted to make this interesting psychological thriller. They kind of threw them together. They don't really stick, and you kind of have a jumbled mess. But I do still think that this film is very watchable. I was entertained throughout. I do feel like some of the psychological stuff just went a little too far in terms of it being really in your face. He starts having visions of things, and I'm like, you don't really need to show us that. It's more of one of those things where you just wish they kind of hinted at it. I feel like they show it a little bit too much. We're seeing too much things, popping out of nowhere, and that goes along the lines with the supernatural elements as well. Overall, I do think that it's a decent thriller with a few problems, but it's still very entertaining. The acting and the characters are a very strong point. I did really care for this character. I did really care for his wife. I felt like they casted the wife or the girlfriend very perfectly because she kind of has a weird look to her. She's not knockout dead gorgeous. She kind of has this almost odd look to her, but it's not to the point where it's gratuitous or anything like that. It's very subtle, and I do feel like that helped with the storyline of her feeling like he wants to leave her for a younger, hot 18-year-old, and I felt like they really did the addiction part of the film very good. I felt like when they did have things going on at the group meetings, and him kind of holding on to his past, the relapses, the stuff like that, I thought that was all done really well. Overall, solid, but has many, many flaws that brings the psychological thriller part of the film down. So I'm just going to say that it is slightly above average. I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I do think that people should check it out, maybe in a red box, rent it somewhere. This film will become available on June 2nd. You can pre-order it now on Amazon. Potentially, maybe worth a pickup, but definitely worth a rent. So see you guys next time with another review. Thank you, ArcEntertainment, for putting this out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.